Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P-Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab where I do what I do for you. I just found one of my old lessons from when I was teaching back out in Patterson a couple of years ago. So I'm gonna give you a quick lesson in that one. Right thinkers, get ready. This should be fun. Let's go. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receiving them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinkers mission, that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinkers way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See where we're going with this? So I asked the question, do you know you? It's rhetorical, but if you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You can teach them. That's why I do what I do. It's for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm a spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to Maat, be true. Speaking of my girl, that's where we at right now. Right thinkers, this is the lessons that I used to put together. I had my weekly class. It's about 3 or 4 pages of information, right? And I would break it down, go through it. So I'm gonna do a lesson that I used to do when I was in class. It shouldn't take an hour, but it might take a minute, but it's a good lesson. In this one today, the right thing, let's talk about the philosophy, Maat, the philosophy of righteous action, social order, and spiritual upliftment of what? Humanity and, in our ancient Egyptian and Indian society. They was teaching this philosophy a long time ago. I got the information right here to break you in on it. So let's get started. This is good information. And for any society, a philosophy, not a religion or a belief system, a philosophy of what? Righteous action, which will promote social order and harmony, is essential to the creation of a civilized community and for the survival of the population as well as the prosperity of said people. I explained to you, I went to Egypt to find out what they did for 4,000 years that they lived in harmony with each other before they started getting invaded. And what I found out was Maat philosophy is what they lived on for over 5,000 years. Go a little further back, but I just started 5,000, okay? That's what I went to Egypt for over 35 years ago now. This harmony, Maat philosophy, and prosperity is the basis which allows what? Higher spiritual study and daily practice to what? Take the place and for the culture to endure. If we was all doing the same thing, we all thought alike, we all live pretty much alike, that's harmony. It don't make a difference. Harmony is two opposites coming together for the same purpose, for the good of all. So men and women, we got to come together to what? To procreate. Simple as that. That's how it is. So they understood that a long time ago. We still stuck up on what gender we are, who we are, all that nonsense. When you have knowledge and philosophy that keeps you on the straight and narrow, I got the 42 Confessions in my eye. All those things that everybody took personal and they manifested it for themselves. Nobody wanted to be reincarnated. Nobody feared death. Why? They just feared what? Reincarnation. So they did what they needed to do here to avoid that as a people. Not just this one, not just that one, not just the white ones, the black one. There wasn't no color distinctions in Egypt 5,000 years ago. It was just us. So we didn't have issues. And a society wherein discontent was not allowed, unrest and distracted people really obstruct what you from attaining higher philosophy or knowledge of self-discovery. They knew being ignorant wasn't the way to live. They despised ignorance. The sages, okay, and saints of our ancient commit introduced and perfected. They didn't just introduce it, they perfected this philosophy. And know what they called it? Maya. I do that because she represents the scales. That's the balance. And unlike our modern day scales, where it's tipped it, the lady is blindfolded and got a sword, real Maya is balanced. Don't need no sword. Why? Karma takes over. Wherever you break God's law, you will be dealt with accordingly. Just like when you do righteous deeds, he gives you blessing. He will serve you. Like Tony Montana. I'm not going to shoot your friend. Oh, thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. No, shoot that piece of crap. I'm not gonna do it. God, nah, I got somebody for that. I do the good stuff. I'm divine. I'm a bless you. I give you what you need. When you get what you deserve, you get her. See the difference? That's the concept. That's what I teach philosophically. That's the way I look at it. And watch this. The sages and saints of ancient commit. Okay, they're perfected. They call them Maya. This teaching, Maya philosophy, influenced the creation of the regulations for what? Righteous conduct. Right there. And even in the Greek philosophy, Hinduism, Judaism, Chinese philosophy, Christianity, Islam, as all of these people had contact with ancient Egypt philosophy and concepts. Commission concepts, philosophy of Maya started 5,000 BCE. That's being respectful. They don't even give you Egyptian history to 3200 BCE. So it's an 1800 year gap in between what we was doing and what they said we was doing. But what they don't tell you is what those who study and know, during the 5,000 period, we educated the Greeks. And then 1,500 years later, they came back and took us over. Well, when we get into Greek now, Egypt, that's the Ptolemy period. That's when the Greeks had came in. And they were so nice, they let us practice our religion because they stole everything that we had. They just renamed it, repackaged it. We all know the story. Moving on, but I can't help that. Hindu Buddhism, okay, it started, when Maat was here 5,000 years ago, okay? He just practiced Kushites. Everybody knew Maat. Buddhism started at 800 BCE. That's 4,200 years later. I'm not proud with that. And they fed off of what we had going. Now you got the Jews, the Judaism, okay, the Hebrews, the Israelites, y'all. Y'all started in 1000 BCE. Dr. Ben said he gave y'all 1700 BCE, but they say 1000. I don't argue, I just give you the letters, give you the information. This information age. All you have to do is search and you'll find whatever information you're looking for is no longer hidden. There's not such thing as hidden information. It's just information y'all didn't want to deal with. Now Google got everything you need. Moving on, except my Egyptian information. I had to hit Google to Egyptian stuff. Moving on. That's how I know whoever programmed that AI wasn't too smart about or wasn't familiar with the Egyptian concepts and the philosophy. Got the Christian Judaism and Islam down pat. Moving on, just make a little joke. Then you got the Chinese Confucianism and Taoism. They came around at 500 BCE. Again, practiced our philosophy, moved it, swayed it their way, but it still comes from us. Last but not least, you got your Christians. Okay? The Beatitudes. Everybody wants to get to heaven. But they started around 0 BCE, which is not right. But they claim when the new time came in for the Christians, they started all over again. Time started going forward. We went from 10,000 to 0 to going to positive. We're at 2,000 now. Simple. Moving on. Maat represents the very order which constitutes creation. The story goes, again, information, you study. Our story goes when Ra came out of the noon. I tell you, the noon is potential. It's chaotic. A whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of possibilities, but nothing, everything is just chaotic. Chaos. It's fat, okay? Constant fetters. I mean, it's feeding off itself, causing its own problem within its own self. But he put Maat, what Maat represents. You ready? She represents cosmic order. Therefore, it is said, like I just try to give you a little quick story, that Ra, which is supreme being, created the universe by putting, excuse me, by putting Maat in place of chaos. A bunch of possibilities, but no order and no seem understanding, chaos. A bunch of possibilities. Again, with Maat, she brings order, what we call divine order, only good. So creation itself is really Maat. Creation without order is chaos. That's the noon. You don't want that. But Apophis, who runs the noon, that's what he wants. So he don't want Ra to shine. That's why him and Ra do battle every night. Okay, hold on 1 second. Yeah, sorry about that. Where was I? Down here. We doing Maat, the creation. Okay, cosmic order. Where we at? Oh yeah, chaos. You can have a whole bunch of possibilities. But if there's no order, there's no divine with it, it's just a bunch of nothing, okay? And that's what Isfet represents, constant fetters. Now, Maat is therefore, understand this, Maat, creation. Creation without order is chaos. Go back to the noon. Maat is therefore what? A profound teaching. Teaching in reference to what? Nature of what? The nature of creation and the manner in which human conduct should be cultivated. She give you the 42 confessions, negative confession, how to conduct yourself and what you should do. And I know y'all know the Bible verse. I know that 42 confessions, number 27 said, I have not committed adultery or had sex with the same sex. Not doing it, so it wasn't back then, good. And today, y'all got a whole religion based on that. So, moving on, I'm just putting it out there. That's not part of the deal. Man on man, woman on woman is not natural. Physical, yeah. Natural, no. Moving on. That's not a conversation I'm going to indulge in. But it contains, my philosophy contains a cosmic as well as a what? Worldly implication. It refers to what? A deep understanding of who? Divinity, aka God, and the manner in which what? Righteous and virtuous qualities can be developed in every human heart so as to what? To bring them closer to their divine essence themselves, which is God. That's what meditation is for. That's what righteous and virtuous living is for. And that's how you earn your blessings, because he's always watching. I ain't got my eye on. But that's what the eye represents, the eye of consciousness that sees all in all human beings. So trying to lie, hide, cheat, and connive, I got a lesson for you. Don't you know what you've done in the dark will be brought to light? Old saying. And sayings don't get old if they're not true. Simple as that. In ancient Egypt, the judges, listen, watch this. Now, if we had this going on today, we wouldn't have a guy running for presidency with a damn felony jacket. Watch this. In ancient Egypt, the judges and all those connected with the judicial system, watch this, were initiated into the teachings of Maat. Judges and priests of Maat. Why was that? Those who would discharge the laws and regulations of society were well and should have been trained in what? The ethical and spiritual mystical values of life. If they're not living it, they can't teach it or hold someone else accountable to do it. If you got a judge that's sneaking and creeping around, he don't need to be the judge. We got a lot of that going on. Okay? Everybody who hung out that your boy that did he though, he about to blow the lid off all of y'all private stuff that you do behind closed doors. About to get blow the lid off. Why? We all have stuff that we ain't proud of doing. But when you go out and you in unfamiliar territory, you might want to be a little careful. I don't entertain none of that. So I could care less who it is. I have no empathy, no compassion for that person who gonna be brought up on that nonsense at all. I should be the judge. Life, every one of them. That's how I feel. Gotta go. Yeah. If you perform perverted acts in your privacy, yeah. But when you don't know that you're being taped, you still perform the act. You're still responsible for the act. Moving on. So all that playing the victim, no. Is that you? Yeah. You say you didn't do it. Tape said otherwise. That's why hearsay is inadmissible. But tapes, it's not looking good. But the point still is, if you're going to dispense justice, you should be just. That's all. That's what I'm saying. And that's what they did back then. That's how they kept everything copacetic. And when it started going bad is when the system started giving into what? Deceit, lying, everybody. I got a lesson for you. Watch, come on. But these principles, watch this, included the application of justice. Not just talking about it, but you had to apply it. And the responsibility to what? Serve and promote harmony where in society. They trusted the judicial system back then. You could trust it. You can't now. This clown, no, I ain't going there. I'm sorry. But the things that we doing now, we wouldn't have to deal with this. They had standards that they set forth. But watch this. Now, harmony in society. They promote harmony in society as well as what? The responsibility of spiritual development in an atmosphere of what? Freedom and peace. For only when there is justice for all and fairness to all in said society can there be a abiding harmony and peace amongst the people. We can't do that in our own damn household. So a society like that was very, very respected. Harmony and peace are necessary requirements for the pursuit of what? True happiness and inner fulfillment of oneself in one's own life. They wasn't responsible for their neighbor. They could care less what somebody else is doing. They were responsible for themselves. The opposite of Maat which is righteousness, okay? But the opposite is called in Maat, which represents unrighteousness, or its name is Isfet, short for Isfettered, meaning you are your worst enemy. And when you are chaotic, you are potential to be great, potential to do whatever. But if it's not harnessed, if it's not put in order, if it's not balanced, it will get out of control and cause its own demise. Hence, self-destructive. Okay? Where we at down here? I got that out the way. I'm looking at the clock. If this is a lesson, I'll be just teaching, so I'm going to teach on to the next lesson. Turn the page for you right quick. Let's get some more information. That's why I gave you information. So right quick. So you're talking about Maat. You're talking about yoga. What is yoga and how does Maat philosophy relate to yoga? Good question. And that's how I would start with this. Maat philosophy is an aspect of yoga teaching. I just told you. I got you. Don't worry. And therefore, it is important to understand Maat Sema yoga is the context, in the context of what? That all the Sema Tawi, which represents Egyptian yoga traditions, Therefore, it is appropriate here to present a brief introduction to what? The concepts of yoga, which there are 5, and be specific. Yoga teachings that developed where? In ancient Africa and later on India, who made it popular, but they got it from ancient Egypt, Africa. Most students of yoga are familiar with the yoga traditions of India. My man Sadi Guru, that's my dude. And consider that the Indians texts such as, they got a book called the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, the Pantajali, and they got Yoga Sutras, different positions, sexual positions, all that good stuff. Now, that's the Tantra Yoga. I don't practice that. With the positions, I'm not personalizing myself. I'm not bending and stretching. I go to the gym every day, but I don't need that aspect. But the rest of them, you can implement and use. I gave you the integral. It didn't go over well, I guess, because integral yoga is putting all of it into use when you need them. That's the difference. Master all of them. Let's go. Well, yeah, that's what the right thing with philosophy teaches you. I got a little bit of all of it in there, but you use them accordingly. But watch this. Okay, sutra, etc. And they are the primary and original sources of what? The yoga philosophy and the teachings. However, upon further examination and a little bit of due diligence, you see that the teachings currently espoused in all the major forms of Indian yoga can also be found in ancient Egyptian scriptures. Inscribed in papyrus, is on paper, and on the temple walls, as well as the stelas, statues, and obelisks, and other sources. So we had that information. We had said knowledge. Yoga is the what? Practice of mental, physical, and spiritual disciplines. I practice what I tell you, spiritual discipline daily. Why? Which leads you to what? Self-control. That's why. With daily practice, reaching self-control, and also they call self-discovery. I call it knowing thyself, spiritual enlightenment. We call it nihas. By by purifying the mind, right thinking, right practice, right thoughts, right actions, right body, physical fitness, keeping in shape, keep the chakras lined up, you'll be fine. Haven't been to doctors over 10 years. And spirit, that's what gives you the reason to do or to be. That's life, that's God. So you got to harmonize those things, thinking, physical, and understanding that the spirit that's in you is of God. So as to what? You now have discovered what? The deeper spiritual essence, which what? Lies within who? Every human being. That lies where? Within every human being. And even objects in the universe. Microcosm, physical, macrocosm, universal, or they call it cosmic. Okay? But in essence, the goal of right thinker practice, right thinkers, is to unite or yoke one's individual conscious, yourself conscious, with your universal cosmic conscious, which is God. He's all conscious, all knowing. When you connect with him, you become the same thing. Therefore, ancient Egyptian religious practice. Religious means a dogma or philosophy that you practice daily. Then it becomes religion. Right thinking is religious practice that I do every day. It's not a religion, but it's a practice that I follow daily, especially when the terms of what? Rituals. Following the same routine pretty much daily. Morning prayer, morning meditation, morning workout. Go do what you gotta do. Evening prayer, evening meditation. Go to sleep, get your rest, wake up, and do it again. That's the routine. That's the religion, okay? You don't have to go to a temple or be a monastery. No, work it into your daily life. Make it your routine. Make it suit your needs. You're the one in control of that. And watch this. Practice the rituals and what? Your other practices of ancient Egyptian temple system. See, it didn't say a belief system. It said a temple system, ancient temple system known as Shi-Ta-Netta. And what that means, the way of the hidden supreme being. God is hidden in man. He didn't hide himself up high, down low. He hid it in plain sight, where most people do overlook it. But God is in the heart of man. Spiritual discipline, watch this. Spiritual discipline were known in ancient times as what? Smartawi. You're learning, studying about your hidden God, which is in you. You mastering aspects of your character so that you can do and be pleasing to God and get the blessings that's due you for doing just that. Religion takes it and gives the same concept that way, moving on. But that's what it is. It's called Egyptian yoga. And should as well be considered what? As what they call universal streams of self-knowledge, aka a philosophy, which to this day influenced and inspired what? The great religions and philosophers to this very day. How about that? Watch this. In this sense, religion in its purest form, meaning uncut, like P-Funk, pure, is also a yoga system as it seeks to what? Reunite your soul with your true essence, which is God or the original source, God. In broad terms, any spiritual movement or spiritual discipline that brings one closer to self-knowledge, no matter what religion it is, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, I respect them because this is their goal. This is what they're supposed to be doing. Brings anybody with self-knowledge, gives you that knowledge, is a yogic movement. And yeah, a way of life when practiced when? Daily. The main recognized forms of yoga disciplines are Samathawi, aka yoga of wisdom, right thing philosophy teaches that. Samathawi yoga, devotional love, definitely do that. Love for God, let it be known. Why? That's why you meditate in prayer daily. Samathawi yoga of meditation, again, I communicate with God in meditation where I do the listening. I don't talk during meditation. I just listen. I do that daily. Physical posture yoga. That's the tantric yoga. I don't practice that because I'm not doing that. I go to the gym for that. I substitute that with my own physical personal workout plan that I've been doing for years. Samathawi yoga, a selfless action. This is my favorite. This is what I'm doing right now. I call it a selfless act. Giving of something of yourself, time, energy, and effort to help somebody else without wanting something in return. That's a selfless act. That's doing right by somebody else. Simple. Last one, Samathawi yoga of serpent power. That's the Kundalini I tell you about, okay? So I have all those yoga concepts that I practiced for over 10 years. I know them, I mastered them. So I'm telling you how to get to be your best self by practicing them, mastering them, and you get the same result. Know thyself. Gaining knowledge of self. I got a diagram I'm about to show you. The diagram shows the relationship between yoga discipline, and the path of mystical religion. Religion practiced in 3 complete steps. And it's going to show you the 3 steps of religion compared to the 3 steps of yoga. Watch this. Here it is right here. Here's the diagram. You see right there? The top part is the religious concept. The bottom part is the 5 yoga philosophies that you practice them all. You see at the end it says spiritual enlightenment. The goal is to do that. That's why I understand religion. That's why I keep trying to explain to you. I'm not religious because I'm spiritual. I take the spiritual route with the yoga concepts. Only difference. Understand that. So let me run that down for you right quick. I got one more page of information. I see the clock. I'm teaching right now. I ain't clock watching. Let's go over this right quick. So the disciplines of yoga, they fall into 5 major categories. These are, I just told you, yoga of wisdom, yoga of devotional love, yoga of meditation, tantric yoga, or the physical Kama Sutra, and yoga of selfless action. This is the favorite. When these disciplines are practiced in a harmonized manner, this practice is called intricate yoga. I just gave that lesson. But within these categories, there are subsidiary forms which are also part of the main disciplines. The emphasis in the Commission Assyrian myth is on the yoga of wisdom. They give you a life lesson. And yoga of devotional love and yoga of selfless action, they all are important in the story. But the important point to remember is that all aspects of yoga can and should be used what? In an integral fashion when necessary. If you need to use yoga of devotional love, if you didn't practice it, you haven't mastered it, you can't use it. You don't have it. Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. That's why you cover all the areas in the yoga philosophy concepts for that purpose. Now, you can use them in integral fashion and to the effect of what? Efficient and a harmonized spiritual movement within oneself in the practitioner, again, oneself. So therefore, while there may be an area of special emphasis, mind, selfless service, but other elements are bound to become part of the yoga program as needed. Again, for example, while a yogin, practitioner of yogi, aspirant, initiate, may place emphasis on a yoga of wisdom. He want to learn. Okay, that's philosophy, wisdom. They may also have to practice devotional yoga and even meditation yoga along with the wisdom studies. Meaning you just can't take one. These go with that. Or is the package deal. So the practice of any spiritual discipline or yoga discipline that leads to oneness with supreme consciousness can and should be called yoga. They call it religion. If you study, rationalize, and reflect upon your teachings, you are practicing yoga of wisdom. If you meditate, which I do, upon the teachings and your highest self, you are practicing yoga of meditation. But you can't just practice yoga meditation and don't practice yoga of devotional love or yoga of wisdom. They all come together and you should know them and use them accordingly. Now, thus, whether or not you refer to it, such as if you practice rituals which identify your spiritual nature, now you are practicing yoga of ritual identification. Again, whatever area you practice in, it's a yoga practice and a concept for that, which is part of, again, of yoga of wisdom. The Commission Wrighteous in India, Jnana, and the yoga of devotional love. Again, they called it Ushat in India and Bhakti in India, of the divine. If you develop your physical nature and psychic energy center, you are practicing Kundalini, serpent power. We did that, all that I did this, went through this. But the practitioner of yoga is called a yogin, male practitioner, or a yogini for the female. Or the term yogi may be used to refer to what? Either a male or female practitioner in general terms, but one who has attained the accumulation of yoga, which is the union with your higher self, become one with God through daily practice and meditation, is also called a yogi. In this integral fashion, to achieve the same goal, spiritual enlightenment, aka knowledge of self, therefore, you, the aspirant, is to what? Your job is to learn about all of these paths of yoga and then choose those paths which best suit you, your personality, or practice them all in an integral, balanced way. That's the best advice. Enlightenment, wrapping it up. Enlightenment is a term used to what? Describe the highest level of spiritual awakening. God knowledge. When you have enough of it to where you become one with God, you marry, you had a divine marriage with your heart and mind coherence, it means attaining such a level of spiritual awareness through daily practice that one discovers what? The underlying unity of the entire universe, as well as the fact that the source of all creation is the same source from which your innermost self within every human heart arises. The same thing that's in you is in the universe. That's the philosophy I've been teaching for years. It haven't changed, and that's the lesson. I think I'm done with this. Nope, I'm not done. Sorry about that. Yeah, you think the pastor about done? He said, I got a little more to go. Hang on there with me. I got some good stuff here. You know the definition of yoga. Let me give you a quick definition of religion, mysticism, and dualism, and I'll let you go. Let's talk about religion. All religion tends to be deistic at the elementary level. I mean, it's a whole bunch of jibber jabber, a bunch of talking, not much action. Most often, it manifests as an outgrowth of what? The cultural concepts of the people as they try to express the deeper feeling which they perceive, and they think religion is the answer. Okay, they believe that. Though not in its entirety, thus deism is based on limited spiritual knowledge. Again, the first level, the elementary part, like Sherlock Holmes would tell Watson, stuff that he knew was so easy, he was so elementary there, Watson. Why? You should know that. I'm a big time private eye. Some stuff is elementary. That's what he's saying. And the stuff that religion do is elementary when it comes to spirituality. Watch this. It's deism as a religious belief. Watch this. Or a form of theism, same thing, holds that God's actions was restricted to an initial act of creation. He created in 6 days, the seventh day he rests. You don't humanize God. First of all, God is nature. God is all. He ain't human. We are. After which he retired. That I got a problem with. Separated. There you go. This is my issue right here. When God separated himself from his creation to contemplate the majesty of his work, deist holds that what? That the natural creation is regulated by what? Laws put in place by God, okay, at what? The time of creation. And inscribed with perfect moral principles. According to who? Come on now. I just said, come on somebody. Who said that? But according to y'all deism and y'all theology, this is y'all concept. Watch this. But a deeper study of religion, if you did that, will what? Will reveal that in its original understanding, wait a minute. Yeah, they rewrote some stuff, translated some stuff, but in the original understanding, it seeks to reveal what? The deeper essential religion comes from what? The Latin word, word from Latin, religare, which uses the root re, meaning back, taken back, and ligam, which means to hold or to link, to bond. So religion wants to bring you back and bind you back to what? Their concepts of belief. They're not giving you the truth. They're not giving you fact. They're giving you something they want you to believe. Hence the belief system. I want a gnosis system. I want to know. I want knowledge. So therefore, the essence of true religion is the same as yoga if it keeps it pure. When they start corrupting it, misinterpreting it, misunderstanding it, and professing it, that's where I got a problem with it. That's where we are today. Just the less about that, the misunderstanding and the misinterpretation of religious philosophy and concepts. That is linking, what's this? That is linking back, specifically linking what? Your soul of the follower back to what? Its original source, which is God. If you believe that, then you're following a belief system. So although religion in its purest form is really a yoga system, incorporating what? The yoga disciplines within its teachings, the original intent, here you go, and meaning and purpose of the religious scriptures are often misunderstood, misinterpreted, and distorted, corrupted. This occurs, why? Because religions have developed in what? Different geographical areas, for one. And as a result, you have your lower levels of religion, which is the dogma and the stories and the myth, which are mixed with what? With certain culture, historical events, stories, and traditions, which have no empirical proof, just stories. Okay, folklore, we call them, we know about that, areas. As a result, they had developed independently, Pentecostal, whatever. Yeah, all these different spin-off groups claiming to be the same thing, but y'all teaching different philosophy that's going to suit what y'all want. Spirituality, you don't change the 42 confessions of my heart to suit what I want. I follow them. Simple. And thereby, it appears to be what? Different forms, and each on the surface, this leads to what? Confusion, and more so animosity among its peoples and the followers of said groups who are really ignorant of the true process of said religious movements. Religion is not to be fought over. You shouldn't be fighting over serving God. Religion consists of 3 levels. Listen, religious followers, myth. A myth is something that's a story that's made up to tell you something, to make a point. It didn't literally happen. If you think the people in the Bible are literal, you're missing the boat. Moving on. Myth, ritual, story, you follow it up with the ritual, the acting, reenacting. And if you did it properly and did it consistently, you will become, or you will have your own mystical experience, what we call nihas, or Eastern spiritual enlightenment. Why? Something will happen when you make a connection with God for yourself, if done right. That's what religion intent. I don't see a lot of that going on. In the first 2 levels are if, and this was the problem right here, I agree. If the first 2 levels are misunderstood or accepted literally, the spiritual movement will fail. If the first 2 levels of spiritual or religious concepts are misunderstood, misinterpreted, corrupted, that means said religion will fail to proceed to the next higher level, meaning you'll never get to God. And that's the intent for those who gave you religion. That's why I don't follow them. I know the intent. I know the people intent who gave it to you also. Now, in order for a religious experience to lead one to have his mystical experience, all 3 levels of religion must be completed and mastered. My pastor and best friend have done that in his life. I know that, so I don't have no problem with religion. I got a buddy who's doing the same thing from the Islamic and the Jewish concept, so please understand that. But this process will be fully explained throughout this text as I'm going along in this volume. I teach this in my class, so all of my Christian friends, shut up. It's lessons. Learn them. You can pick about them later. Right now, learn them, understand them, and then make a better decision once you understand it. Don't just start up, well, this is. I don't deal with that. I teach. Now let's talk about mysticism right quick. Yeah, I see it's going to be a little long. I'm almost there. Mysticism is a spiritual discipline for attaining what? Union with the divine, your higher self. How? Through daily practice of what? Deep meditation or contemplation and other spiritual disciplines, meaning good deeds, righteous and virtuous acts, such as what? Detachment, renunciation of all wrongdoings, okay? In this aspect, you're purifying, you're perfecting yourself. And in this aspect, mysticism, aka and yoga, are synonymous. When you're living, doing, and being, you will be rewarded for the good deeds. Your IRE is your actions, and they'll be blessed. If they're good, there will be karma. You receive karma. If they're not, simple as that. I see the clock. I'm wrapping it up. Appreciate you tuning in. Hope you get this message. Hope you understand it. What I'm trying to give to you. This is the last one. Dualism. Dun, 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 dun. Everything outside of God came in pairs. He's the only one. Hence, everything comes from the one. Dualism, similar to deism. Dualism is what? The belief that all things in nature are separate and real, and that they exist independently from any underlying essence or support. It is the belief in that what? Pairs of opposites, wherein everything has a polar counterpart. Up, got it down. Left, got it right. In, got it out. See where we're going with that? 6 dimensions, up, down, in, out, left, right. For example, you have male, okay? Female, here. You got there. You got hot. You got cold. See where I'm going with that? That's the analogy, etc. Now, while these elements seem real and abiding to what? The human mind, which is us, mystical philosophers throughout history have been claiming that this is only an outer expression of what? The underlying essence from which they originate. In reality, the underlying essence of all things and all... Okay. No, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Let's wrap this up for you. Right thinkers. In essence, the underlying essence of all things is non-dual. That's God. Everything else in creation after that comes in pairs. That's the concept, and that's my philosophy. That's why you see me giving her praise by putting up the scales. I got another lesson coming up. It's called Keeping the Balance. That'll be nice. I'll be right back. Right thinkers in closing. May you all live to be 100 and make 100 minus a day. So I never know that my right thinkers have passed away. I'll be back. Hope you enjoyed the lesson.